semi-finals of the ASB Classic and eventually gives herself the opportunity to just have a little smile, not getting carried away for 33-year-old Magda Linette. Now shining on the WTA Tour. Oh, that's fantastic from Eala. Oh, what a point. Both going at each other, taking lumps. Oh, it's just made it beautifully done. Been just a few indications she was close to bubbling there, Eala. Oh, clever. So clever. And there she goes again. A wrong footer down the line.
Eala broke Linette early in the first set, held serve with absolute terrifying authority, and closed out the first set 6-3. It was the very first time she had ever taken a set off the Polish veteran, and she didn't stop there. In the second set, she smelled blood in the water. She was even more dominant. She painted the lines. She hit behind Linette. She served with a placement that was simply unplayable. 6-2 in the second set. Match over. It was a demolition. It was the moment Alex Eala proved to herself that she could adjust, adapt, and overcome the specific demons that had haunted her young career. She proved she could crack the code. So now we are in Miami, March 2026, and the pressure on Alex Eala is completely immeasurable. This is where we have to talk about the brutal, unforgiving mathematics of life on the professional tennis tour. The WTA computer does not care about your feelings. It does not care about your fairy tale narratives. It operates on a rolling 52-week system. Exactly 1 year ago, Eala earned 390 ranking points for her miraculous run to the semifinals. The second the 2026 Miami Open began, those 390 points evaporated from her ranking. She entered this tournament ranked 29th in the world, a career high that she bled for, sweat for, and fought tooth and nail to achieve. But the live rankings, the harsh reality of the computer, already had her free-falling down to 51st in the world before she even hit her first practice ball in Florida. If she loses early in Miami, she drops completely out of the top 50. She loses her crucial seedings for the upcoming European clay court swing. She will be forced to play unseeded against monsters in the first rounds of Madrid and Rome. Months and months of grueling, agonizing, body-breaking work will be wiped out in a single afternoon. Breakthroughs in sports are beautiful. We love the Cinderella story. But defending that breakthrough, proving that you belong at the top of the mountain, and refusing to let anyone push you back down, that is where legends are born. That is where careers are made, or where they are broken permanently. And Eala already had to walk through absolute hell just to reach this third-round match against Linette. Her second-round match against Laura Siegemund was not a tennis match. It was a war. It was 3 hours and 20 minutes of pure, unadulterated physical and mental torture. Siegemund is 38 years old. She is a German veteran who has seen every single trick in the book. She is the master of the dark arts of tennis. Eala came out blazing, racing to a 3-love lead in the first set, looking like the exact same superstar who terrorized this stadium a year ago. But Siegemund refused to go away. She clawed back, grinding the pace down to a halt, using heavy topspin and drop shots to drag Eala into deep, uncomfortable waters. They went to a first-set tiebreaker. Eala earned 4 set points, 4 chances to close the door and take control of the match, and she could not convert a single one. On the 4th set point, Siegemund hit a brilliant clutch, agonizingly perfect serve directly into Eala's body, jamming her completely. Siegemund stole the tiebreaker 8-6. If you want to know what makes a champion, you don't look at how they play when they are up a break and cruising. You look at what they do in the exact moment their heart gets ripped out. The Miami sun is cooking the court to over 100 degrees. The crowd is getting restless. The lactic acid is building in her legs. A younger, less mature version of Alex Eala would have completely folded right there. She would have felt sorry for herself, tanked the second set, and walked to the locker room. But that is not who Alex Eala is anymore. What happened next was a terrifying display of mental fortitude. She sat in her chair, put the towel over her head, reset her mind, and walked back out onto the court with eyes like a great white shark. She broke Siegemund twice in the second set, winning it 6-3, and then came the chaos. In the third set, the psychological warfare reached a boiling point. At 2-1, Eala was preparing to serve. She misplaced her ball toss and caught it, a completely normal occurrence in tennis. But Siegemund, using every ounce of veteran gamesmanship, dramatically walked all the way to the back of the court and began complaining to the chair umpire, intentionally breaking Eala's rhythm, intentionally icing the young star. Instead of shrinking, instead of letting the veteran bully her, Eala walked straight up to the umpire's chair. She didn't yell. She didn't throw a tantrum. She looked the umpire dead in the eye, calm, composed, and absolutely lethal, and said, "Can you watch her time? Because many times she is delaying." It was a mic drop moment. It was a 20-year-old looking at a 38-year-old veteran and saying, "You cannot intimidate me. This is my house." Eala went on to win that grueling third set 6-3, needing 4 breakpoints in a marathon game to finally slam the door shut on Siegemund. 3 hours and 20 minutes. When she stood on the court for her post-match interview, exhausted, drenched in sweat, having survived an absolute nightmare, she delivered a quote that instantly went viral, setting social media completely on fire. She looked into the camera, smiled, and said, "It was demanding, physically and mentally. But that was one of my goals last year, to improve physically. And here I am, fresh as a flower, fresh as a flower." Let those words echo in your mind for a second. After 3.5 hours of brutal baseline warfare, the absolute supreme confidence radiating off this young woman is something you cannot teach. It is something you are born with. She knows exactly how good she is. But as if the tennis gods were not satisfied with this level of drama, they decided to throw gasoline on the fire. Because while Eala was surviving her war against Siegemund, Magda Linette was on stadium court doing the absolute unthinkable. The results board updated, and a collective gasp echoed through the grounds in Miami. Magda Linette had just beaten Iga Swiatek, the world number 3, a 6-time Grand Slam champion, the heavy favorite to win the entire tournament, eliminated in the second round by the 50th ranked Linette, and the way she did it was mind-bending. Swiatek came out and destroyed Linette in the first set, 6-1. It looked like a routine practice session for the world number 3. But then Linette dug her heels into the Miami hardcourt and refused to die. She found a gear nobody knew she had. She completely broke Swiatek's rhythm, dragging her into grueling rallies, frustrating the champion into uncharacteristic errors. Linette clawed back to win the second set 7-5, and then dominated the third set 6-3. It was her third consecutive victory over Swiatek. Linette has officially become the Polish superstar's kryptonite. So let's put all the pieces on the board and look at the masterpiece we have in front of us. Alex Eala's defining career moment was beating Iga Swiatek on this exact court last year. Now the woman standing between Eala and the round of 16 is Magda Linette, the very woman who just did the exact same thing to Swiatek 24 hours ago. You literally cannot write a script this good. If you pitch this to a Hollywood producer, they would tell you it's too cliché. It is a perfect symmetrical circle of sporting drama, and you have to understand the cultural earthquake that is happening right now because of this match. The Filipino tennis community is not just watching this tournament, they are living and breathing every single point. Social media across the Philippines, a country of over 115 million people, has been completely paralyzed by this draw. The Filipino fans are not casual observers. They are a force of nature. They have been showing up in massive, deafening crowds at every single tournament Eladio has played this year. They packed the stands in Melbourne for the Australian Open, painting the crowd in blue, red, white, and yellow. They traveled in huge caravans to Indian Wells in the California desert, creating an atmosphere that felt like a World Cup soccer match. And here in Miami, a city with a massive and proud Filipino-American population, they are turning Hard Rock Stadium into a fortress. The Philippine flag is flying everywhere. You can hear the chants echoing from the practice courts to the grandstands. Eala isn't just swinging a racket for herself. She is carrying the sporting dreams of an entire nation on her 20-year-old shoulders. She is the first Filipina to ever reach a WTA 1000 semifinal. She is the first Filipina to win a Grand Slam main draw match in the Open era. When she met Miami Heat head coach Erik Spoelstra at the arena a few days ago, the internet exploded. Erik Spoelstra is a legendary figure, a proud Filipino-American who knows exactly what it takes to win championships in the intense heat of Miami. Seeing the two of them together, two absolute powerhouses representing the Philippines at the absolute highest pinnacle of global sports, it was a passing of the torch. It was a visual representation that Filipinos belong on the biggest stages in the world. So how does this match actually play out? Tactically, this is a clash of two completely opposite ideologies. This is fire versus ice. This is the explosive, heavy-hitting youth of Eala against the crafty, suffocating, chess-like veteran strategy of Linette. Linette is coming into this match riding the absolute highest high of her entire season. When a veteran pulls off a massive upset against a top 3 player, one of two things happens. Either they suffer an emotional letdown and come out flat in the next round, or they start playing with house money. They feel completely unburdened. They feel zero pressure. They start swinging freely, going for lines and playing a brand of tennis that is completely unplayable. Linette has already made the headlines. She is already the darling of the tournament. Whatever happens against Eala is just gravy. That lack of pressure makes her the most dangerous woman in the draw right now. She is going to try to use her backhand slice to keep the ball impossibly low, forcing Eala to bend her knees, dig the ball out of the court, and generate her own pace. Linette will try to make this match an ugly, grinding, physical battle of attrition, but Alex Eala has evolved specifically to destroy this kind of game plan. The improvements she has made in the last 12 months are staggering. Her serve, which used to be a slight vulnerability, has become a massive weapon. She has added incredible placement, a wicked slice out wide, and the ability to hit her spots under extreme pressure. She doesn't just start points anymore, she dictates them. Her rally tolerance is completely off the charts. We saw it against Sigamon. She can stay in brutal, exhausting 30-shot rallies without her level dropping an inch. But the most terrifying weapon Alex Eala possesses now is her maturity. A year ago, she might have tried to blast a winner through Linette's defenses on the second or third ball, making unforced errors and playing right into the veteran's hands. Not anymore. Eala has learned patience. She constructs the point. She moves her opponent side to side, probing the defenses, waiting, and the absolute second Linette leaves a ball sitting short in the court. Eala steps in and pulls the trigger with a devastating heavy topspin forehand that sounds like a gunshot echoing through the stadium. This isn't just about forehands and backhands anymore, this is a psychological war. Eala has everything to lose. The ranking points, the momentum, the validation that last year wasn't a fluke. A loss here sends her tumbling down the rankings and hands the critics the exact ammunition they want to say she was a one-hit wonder. But a win over Magda Linette, right here, right now, changes the entire calculus of the 2026 season. It sends a chilling message to the locker room. It tells every single player on the WTA Tour that Alex Eala is not a fleeting phenomenon. It tells them that she is a permanent, undeniable force of nature who can adapt, overcome, and brutally dismantle the players who used to give her trouble. It proves that she belongs in the elite tier of women's tennis. Week in and week out, the evidence is already piling up that Eala is the real deal. We saw it at the Australian Open. We saw it in Auckland when she finally crushed Linette. We saw it in Indian Wells just a few weeks ago, when she played a match against Diana Yastremska that people are still talking about. It was close to midnight in the California desert. The temperature had plummeted, the wind was swirling, Eala was down in the third set, her back completely against the wall, and she somehow found a way to dig deep into her soul and pull out a 7-5, 4-6, 7-5 victory that defied all logic. She pushed her ranking to a career high of 28. She proved she can win ugly. She proved she can win when her A game isn't there. She proved she has the heart of a street fighter. But Miami is different. Miami is sacred ground for Alex Eala. This is the city that birthed her legend. This is the stadium where she first tasted superstardom. When she walks out onto that court, the memories of last year are going to come flooding back. The roar of the crowd, the heat of the sun, the feeling of being completely unstoppable. She is going to look across the net at Magda Linette, the 34-year-old giant killer, and she is going to know exactly what needs to be done. Every great story in the history of sports requires a defining chapter where the hero is tested by the ghosts of their past. Roger Federer had to conquer his demons against Rafael Nadal. Serena Williams had to face down the crushing weight of history and her own sister. Alex Eala and Magda Linette might not be fighting for a Grand Slam trophy today, but do not let that fool you. The dramatic tension pulsating through this match is identical. This is the veteran who just shocked the world against the prodigy who shocked the world in this exact same building 1 year ago. The crowd at Hard Rock Stadium is going to be deafening. It will be a sea of Philippine flags. It will be an atmosphere dripping with intensity, pride, and unbearable tension. Magda Linette wants to prove that her win over Swiatek was the start of a late career renaissance. She wants to use her experience to drag the young star into the deep water and drown her. But Alex Eala, she is fighting for her legacy. She is fighting to protect the ground she conquered. She is younger, she is faster, she hits harder. She is improving at a terrifying rate that has the rest of the tour scrambling to find answers. And most importantly, she is fueled by the fire of a champion who remembers exactly what it felt like to be dismantled by Linette in Abu Dhabi and Nottingham. She has carried those losses like burning coals in her hands, using the pain to forge herself into an absolute weapon. This is not just a tennis match. This is a reckoning. This is the moment the past collides violently with the future. So buckle up, clear your schedule, turn off your phone and lock your eyes on the screen. Because when Alex Eala and Magda Linette walk out of that tunnel and step onto the sun-baked hardcourt of Miami, you are not just watching a third-round tennis match. You are watching a 20-year-old superstar from the Philippines write the most violent, glorious, and unforgettable chapter of the revenge tour of the century. The stage is set, the whole world is watching, and Miami is about to erupt.